Now, on the subject of farming, pork lovers, beware. Prices at your local deli could go sky high in the next few months, all thanks to a deadly virus that is killing entire populations of piglets. The disease is known as the Porcine Epidemic Diarrhea Virus, and until very recently, it was thought only to exist in Europe and China. Now, somehow, 200 hog facilities in 15 states are reporting cases of the disease. The virus causes severe diarrhea, vomiting, and dehydration in pigs. It is most fatal to young piglets. And it should be noted that the disease is not harmful to humans, or at least that we know of, and there is no evidence it affects pork products. But it could hit hard in the pockets of consumers. It also makes you think about whether the global food supply chain leaves consumers open to new dangers. Now, for more on the PED virus, we're joined today by Dr. Paul Sundberg, VP of Science and Technology with the National Pork Board. How are you doing, Paul?
Fine, thank you, Erin.
Now, first question, where did this virus come from?
Well, what we know is that it's the same virus that China has, a PED virus in China. It's analogous. It's the same thing as far as sequence goes to a China 2012 virus.
Interesting. And what does this virus mean for farmers?
Well, for individual farmers, it can be very devastating. The virus attacks the intestines of pigs, and little pigs, it's especially severe in little pigs because they dehydrate very quickly. Causes diarrhea, very watery diarrhea and vomiting and dehydration. For individual farmers, it can be, the morbidity and mortality can be up to 100% in small pigs. As the pigs get older, they're better able to withstand the virus. So for individual farmers, it can be very bad. Overall, for the industry, we still have a rather small number of sites that we know have the infection. So overall, it's yet to be seen exactly what the impact's going to be.
We have a video up behind you of the cutest little pigs I've ever seen, and it's really, aside from being potentially very scary for farmers, it's sad that these little guys are suffering from this disease. What should or could farmers do to prevent and protect their livestock from falling to this disease?
Well, the virus is transmitted to what we call fecal-oral. So what it amounts to is when a pig gets this virus and gets into the intestine, it's shed in the feces. And so everything that a farmer can do to make sure that their biosecurity is high enough that it prevents any spread of feces from one farm to another. That's the biggest thing. And as we move pigs around the country, and we move a lot of pigs around the country in different phases of production, that transport of pigs, the trucking of pigs, is probably the biggest issue that we have right now.
Now, what would be a worst-case scenario for the pork industry and consumers in the global market?
Well, so this is a production disease, and our pork producers are resilient and they're very resourceful. Yes, it could cause a dip in pig supply for individual farmers, but overall, right now we're still talking about probably less than 1%, significantly less than 1% of the overall pork supply. But that's for right now. We don't know what the future holds. Like I said, pig farmers, pork producers are very resilient and resourceful. If we can't get around this virus and if we can't contain it and get rid of it, we will learn how to live with it, we will learn how to manage it, and we'll go on with production.
Now, this is kind of an interesting thing, because a couple of years ago, everyone remembers swine flu. Is this virus specifically different to swine flu, or is it the same thing?
No, it's completely different issue. Swine flu, the virus that causes influenza is an influenza virus. This is a completely different virus that only goes into the intestine, only attacks the intestinal lining, and as far as we know right now, it's not transmitted other than through the feces, where influenza, of course, is an aerosol transmission. That's a respiratory infection.
Now, I know people watching this story, seeing these cute little pigs, they're going to be concerned, and I'm going to ask the question, is there anything consumers can do to help fight and prevent this virus?
You know, as far as consumers, as you said, the best thing they can do is keep buying pork. This virus does not affect safety at all. It is a production disease. It's something that pig farmers are going to deal with. And as far as the consumer goes, there's no need to be concerned about it. Of course, we're all concerned about the animals. We're all concerned about their welfare. But
Right.
as I said, we're going to work with the producers, and we're going to work with managing this virus as far as consumer goes.
Okay.
Enjoy a pork chop.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Paul Sundberg, Vice President of Science and Technologies with the National Pork Board. We appreciate your time here today.